Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of I Cast Fireball, an actual play 5e D&D adventure. I'm Thomas, your DM, and around the table we have...
Lieutenant Ignis Halcon.
Maximus Shans.
Ataraxia Kalian.
And Buster Bilgewater.
Last we left our crew, they had settled on a name, and they had been invited to Rickety Hake and his house for a dinner to recount tales and to reminisce, learning some cool things about the Eye of Bendigo and a couple other cool elements of the Shackles. They all were firmly told about the barbarous acts of Barnabas Harrigan. This led Ataraxia to have some sort of resolve, and possibly the rest of the adventuring party, against this evil on the Shackles. And that is where we join our adventurers this week. So, crew, you are still at the dinner table here with the magnificent display of pipe smoke reenacting these horrific visions and these stories. Is there anything that you would like to contribute or say to this meal?
I feel like everybody's got really weird smoke in their pipes.
Did Buster say that out loud?
Accurate observation.
That'd be the best if it's only Buster smoking.
We're all just sitting around.
Yeah, everyone's got weird pipes.
Everybody's got weird smoke in their pipes.
No one's smoking.
I sense Buster a little jealous here, having just regular tobacco or regular smoke here.
Well, what's her name?
She had that
Sandara.
strawberry
Sandara
smoke.
had interesting smoke coming out of her pipe. I feel like there's something going on, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think I've said my piece. Like, the people are crying for revenge, and we're going to hear them crying for revenge. We're going to bring it for them.
You any chance there, Hake? Can I call you Hake? Is that?
No, you can't.
All right, Rickety.
Okay.
Yep, thank you. Got a brand, got to maintain the brand.
Hey, no worries.
Branding man, and I put the horns up to my forehead.
This guy gets it as he points to Ataraxia. This guy gets it.
All right, your
it.
ricketiness. Any chance you might have any kind of like updated recent maps of where Harrigan's terrain is right now, or like what all his people are kind of in charge of?
Well,
just like territory maps of the...
Well, if I'm not mistaken, from what you guys kind of told me about how you were brought into slave servitude to him, he's kind of starting fresh. He's starting from scratch at this point, right? And news hasn't traveled to me that fast, but I can ask around and see if some of the other pirates have had some correspondence, see if I can get you some of that information, but seems to me that you guys are kind of the most recent contacts with Harrigan.
All right. Okay.
Rickety, I do have a question.
Yeah.
So, most of us, I believe Buster's the only one with true experience in the pirating game. And as we're just getting started, I'd wonder, what different approaches have you seen to it? I know the classic, take the ships and board them. Smuggling is also an avenue.
I mean, it keeps me in business, right?
That's very...
Squipping off everything.
Sorry. Just keep laughing until he's done. I'm sorry. Smuggling is also a route that I've heard could be profitable.
Yeah,
Are
of
there
course.
any other avenues maybe we haven't seen or thought of that you could lend advice to?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, because there's no one way to be a pirate, right? And you could be who you want to carve your path and how you want to cut the water that way. I mean, that's totally up to you. But I think if you can, and if you have the resources, dramatic gestures from time to time are what really get the rumors going. And of course, the rumors are what really make you the most fearsome and popular pirates. It's all about the, points to Ataraxia, branding. That's right.
Branding.
Of course. Yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, some dramatic gestures. You know what? I really like you guys. Yeah, I think, and he kind of like stands up and like pushes himself from the table, and he walks over to one of his like desks, and he kind of like sips around, and he goes, yeah, here we go. He pulls out a map of the Shackles.
Ooh, my ears perk up.
And he points down, this Shackles, as I've mentioned previously, is, I don't think hodgepodge is the right word, but it's a collection of mini islands all around the inner sea of Galarian here.
And archipelago.
Archipelago, yeah.
It's called an archipelago, Thomas.
There we go.
I would say it's more like an archipelago.
Is this the new caldera?
This is the new
for
caldera.
Season 2. This is the new caldera for
collection
season
of islands.
2. Okay. Oh, man.
It's like a
collection.
You can find archipelago in the dictionary under caldera.
I just want to remind the audience I was a math major, not an English major, and we can move on.
This is geography. It's not English.
Did you say you were a map major?
He was.
Moving on.
All right. So, an archipelago. Is it an archipelago of islands? No, it's just
That's
an archipelago.
what an
which is a collection of
archipelago is.
islands.
That's what it is.
That's right.
Yes.
It's like chai tea.
Island
Yeah.
is implicit to the word archipelago.
It's the Sahara Desert.
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
And the archipelago of islands where the water is wet.
It's an archipelago of islands.
If you imagine a landmass coming just straight out of the ocean, and there were a lot
This
of
is a
those.
mountain range of mountains.
There are bright lights and dark nights.
Oh, gosh. Oh,
my gosh.
killed me.
Okay. Oh, back in the session. So, yeah, Rickety Hake, he pulls out a map showing you a general outline of the Shackles, an archipelago. So, near the southern portion of the Shackles, you see very clearly written Rickety's Squibs. And it is where you guys currently are located. And everything to you in the Shackles is actually either north or northwest. You are on near a particular large landmass where you see names like Port Peril and Yellowgo Wharf and Dragon's Thrall, these other like locations that are written on this map of the Shackles. There's a saying that whenever a new ship is squibbed or brought out to be under a free captain or somebody aspiring to be a free captain, there's a saying, good fortune and sure sail await what one can crack the Tidewater Rock. And he points to a location on the map with Tidewater Rock written on it. He goes, it's kind of just been in tradition for however long I can remember and people before me can remember, but if you could take Tidewater Rock, that would definitely be a grand gesture to show how serious you are as a free captain. Of course, there are other avenues for you to pursue that you could obviously do yourself, but if you were looking for a direct location or direct path, then yeah, you could do that. And Max, I'll have you roll a history check.
Ah, yes, history. My -1 will help.
Yeah.
Ha! That's a 2.
2. You go Tidewater Rock. Well, Tidewater, tide usually is associated with the ocean. And rock, and basically you just start deconstructing the word Tidewater Rock and seeing it on the map being sort of like a isolated island away from the others. You're like, this is probably Tidewater Rock that he's referring to right here in this location on the map.
And what was he saying was there again? Sorry.
Yeah, so it's just like an adage. So good fortune and sure sail await what one can crack the Tidewater Rock. Since it's a popular saying amongst the free captains, if you could take Tidewater Rock, and word gets out, that's almost like instant reputation, instant infamy, if you will.
What do you mean by take it? Are you saying like plant our flag on it? Are you saying there's people there that we need to slaughter? What do you mean by take it?
I mean, last I heard, there were people that were living in the tower, the castle that was on there. Yeah, I don't know what's become of her. So it's, I say I've never been there myself. So castle, yeah, that's what they call it.
There's probably some good reason nobody's taken it of note.
Is it like fellow pirates live on the rock, or more?
I mean, the Shackles is full of fellow pirates, right? So, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody holding any sort of, like, land or housing that's not affiliated with the Free Captains or pirates in general. So, yeah.
But I can't help thinking that if other pirates had taken Tidewater Rock, we probably would have heard about it by now.
I mean, you may be right.
Has no one ever taken it, or is it just like a normal thing for new captains to try and do? A challenge is different than impossible.
Yeah, it's definitely exchanged hands through the years. I mean, currently the person who has it, I believe, and Buster, you can actually roll me a history check as well, since you are fairly knowledgeable about the Shackles here.
I have a pretty good history, but I rolled a 2.
A 2.
Time.
So 5.
So you're
Water rock.
So you're going
A 2 as well?
No, I rolled a 3 and it became a 2.
I rolled a 2, became a 5.
Tidewater Rock.
We're just saying it in different
It's like
ways.
an island made of rock and an ocean made out of water.
All these rhymey, challenges for pirates and whatnot. I've never been I may have pirated before, but I've never been a captain. And I'm a much bigger fan of the route of treasure finding, like the fighting and killing and pillaging and challenges. Give me a map with something that nobody's found yet, and let me find that. That's a nice,
Buster,
safe way.
How can we find a map of something nobody's found? Nobody's found it. How could there be a map then?
Well, like, hold on. Usually,
I rolled a 2 on my history, but I'm pretty sure.
My understanding of it is, Rickety, back me up on this if you can, but whenever a pirate amasses a level of wealth they might deem a hoard, they got to keep it somewhere. And how are they going to remember where it is unless they have it written down? And so usually the maps are not made for public distribution. They're meant to remind the pirate of where their treasure's located, and they lose it, or they're killed and it's taken, or they die and their body's found with the map on their sunken ship. There's, you find the treasure map, and the treasure map is not something that, like, they go, find my treasure. It's usually like
It's like a map that leads to treasure.
Oh, I get it now.
Exactly.
That's why you're the captain.
You get it, Captain.
Yeah. And Rickety throws his hand in the middle on top of the map, and he goes, I don't want to interrupt our Tidewater Rock conversation here, but you're talking about hidden maps and treasure, and it just reminded me one of the legends of the island that we're actually on right now.
Shut up.
There's no written map, but rumor has it that long ago, when Rahadum decided to forego the gods and decided to ban any sort of worship of the gods and goddesses, that there were a zealous and religious sect of Rahadum's citizens that decided to leave and flee to a location where they could still honor and worship the gods. And as most of the artifacts were being destroyed, melted down, burned, and thrown away, or destroyed, they took as many artifacts as they possibly could and traveled all the way down through the Eye of Abendigo, through the Shackles, and through the Free Captains until they got to, and he points right at the table at Rickety Squib's aisle, and he goes, right here, far away And as he points to where Rahadum. Yeah, so it's quite a distance away from where you currently are at.
By sea or inland? Is it a...
Oh, this was all by sea. They had to in order to transport.
No, I mean the on Rahuadun. Is it by boat we have to get there, or you're saying it's deeper on the island?
I'm saying it's deeper on this island.
They brought it here from Rahadum.
They brought it here from Rahadun.
It's like it used to be in Rahadum, but now it's here.
All right, listen, I'm old. Leave me be. I'm not that old.
So, as they found sanctuary here, they built a civilization. They built a town. They built what the beginnings of a city. But the zealotry of Rahadum chased them across the Shackles through the Eye of Abendigo, and they were found and surprised by those, you could call them zealots, to destroy the old gods and destroy any remaining vestige or artifacts from them. But as he points his finger up and is in the middle of this grand tell of treasure and mystery, legend says that there were one small portion of the population that were tasked with taking those artifacts, and he points behind him to the window up further into the island, into the mountains, to hide and to save the artifacts, to please the gods and goddesses. And those artifacts have not been recovered.
And you haven't sent anybody to go look into it?
What's the reason you haven't gone?
Oh, pirates have come and gone. And here's the kicker. He leans very close and conspiratorially. They've come back with treasure.
But not all the treasure?
Does that mean that there's none left? What's the...
But those that have come back and not spoken of their experiences. They've been terrorized with fear. What? Of what they have seen.
Well, it sounds to me like somebody needs to record the tales of what's going on up in them thar hills.
I love a treasure hunt. That sounds pretty good to me.
Well, it shouldn't take you too long to go up into those hills and find that treasure. And then you can come back and tell me all about it, because I'm an old man and I'm not going to go up there on my own. I've got a fine establishment right here, and I've got a nice income that's coming in for me and my folks around here. So...
Oh, speaking of, and I pull out a chest with 1,800 gold pieces in it and just slam it down on the table in front of him.
He goes, very good. Yep. I'm going to have my guy pick this up later because it's very heavy and I can't pick it up.
Rickety, two questions real quick. Number one, how long, and I'm sorry if you've already told us, how long will it take to scrub the ship?
Squib.
Oh, yeah. It's going to take... it's going to take about 7 to 8 days.
And how long, generally, did it take for people to go up into the mountains and come back down with treasure?
Would you believe it? It was a 3.5 journey there and a 3.5 day journey back.
That's perfect. Guys, this feels... Captain, it's your call, but, I'm for the mountains and treasure. We may be changed when we come back, but we'll have treasure. That's the...
We're pirates, and what's a pirate without treasure, am I right?
The idea that it takes 3.5 days to get there and 3.5 days to get back seems pretty inspired. It's kind of a coincidence that it would take just as long to do this side quest as it does to do this
I don't believe in
squib.
destiny, okay? I know. Besmara's got nothing to do with me and my isle here, but, you could take superstition for what you'd like.
It isn't superstition.
I want to roll an insight on Rickety here.
Go and roll insight.
Just to see if he's being slightly duplicitous in his...
If you don't believe in destiny, can I convince you to believe in narrative expediency?
14.
14. Yeah, so as you kind of take Rickety Hake in, you definitely get the feeling he enjoys... He really enjoys telling the story, right?
The romance of it.
Yeah, he wouldn't have fallen in love with piracy and the seas without the romance of the journey, right? And there is that wonder and that excitement of what if it were actually true? And kind of he's not resolved on it's totally false and I'm just kind of spinning some yarn to have some fun. He's kind of hey, people did come back with gold. It could be true. But when you're looking at him when he's like talking about Besmara, he's totally just like brushing that off. You can tell that he like has no belief about Besmara and that he's not religious at all.
Well, I'm in the camp of following Captain Ataraxia, so you know where I stand. I'm really okay with whatever we do.
Well, sounds to me like we've got a hike ahead of us.
Yes.
He's a little bunny.
Treasure, 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 treasure.
He goes, yeah, I would just, if you want, just make sure I can get you some provisions and just kind of send you on your way. You'll probably want the rest of your crew to stay here just so that they can oversee the ship since their leaders are all leaving, And he probably would. He like puts his hand up to his mouth and goes, probably wouldn't want to share it with them anyway. Am I right? All right.
We wouldn't? Yeah, we definitely wouldn't. It's all ours, yeah. But yeah, we can definitely leave Sandara in charge of everybody else. She's got a good head on her shoulders, and Fish Guts will help keep everybody happy as well. So yeah, let's get some gorp. Let's get some oatmeal. Let's fill up our camelbacks, and we'll be on our way.
Hardtack, maybe?
Yeah, sure. We got hardtack. We've got the worst tasting hardtack probably this side of the Shackles.
I don't know what it is, but the more you have it, the more you like it. It's just kind of part
the
of
more you gotta have it. It's part of the adventure.
An
right?
acquired
Yeah,
taste. Absolutely.
Just like piracy. Am I right? He just goes, all right, I'm done. Stands up, pushes away, and he just walks away from the table, leaving the four of you just at the table.
Buster, are you going to grab this this map here? We'll put it in the ship and take it with us after we get back?
Are you talking to Rickety Hake?
No. Buster.
Okay.
I said, Buster, are you going to take this map here in front of the middle of the table?
I don't think it's our map.
And our navigator and all.
I mean, I can maybe make some notes about it, but I don't know that he was giving us the map, was he?
He didn't say he wasn't.
He also didn't say he was. Hey, Rickety, can we have this map?
Yeah, sure, whatever you want, Ken, of course.
Booyah.
I will roll it up and stow it.
Booyah, by the way, is a Fey term for affirmation.
Booyah? Booyah.
Booyah.
Booyah? Is it like you don't like somebody, then you cheer for them? So it's like
Booyah.
Yeah.
No, it's Fey. It's just Fey for I agree with you, let's go. Incidentally, it's also Draconic for I agree with you, let's go.
That's funny how that works that way. Like language, the way it develops in these fantasy
I
worlds.
was just going to say, I grew up with that word. I'm so...
So, the four of you have this possible plot hook that it sounds like you are going to move forward with. And as you talk to Sandara, and as you, Ataraxia, I assume you talk to Sandara, kind of give her the lowdown of you going to be heading out. She goes, oh yeah, it's fine. I think I can keep everything up to shape while you're gone there, Captain, of course. And when you come back, we'll be right as ready to get back on the high seas. We'll be itching to get our sea legs back.
Sweet. Sandara, real quick. I was talking with Buster and Max, and they were thinking that maybe we should give Cobram a third chance. What do you think about that?
A third chance? Well, you would be a gracious captain. That'd be infamous just on its own right there. So,
branding.
That's up to you, Captain.
Okay, I like infamy. Infamy's good.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like me to do while you're gone there, Captain? Or as he looks over to you, Ignis, being like, how are you? Anything you want us to do while you're heading out?
Make sure the ship doesn't sink. What do you need? Do you need instruction all the time? I thought you were a pirate.
Oh, right on, Missy, of course. She looks at you, Ataraxia, like, but is there anything that we should, be aware of?
We're just going to be bringing back some treasure. Yeah, that's the idea, at least.
Okay,
Captain?
well then, we'll be ready to put it in the hold there, but, I could see you two could use some talking, so I'll bid you adieu and see you in a week's time, it seems.
Sounds good. Adieu. Now,
See ya.
Lieutenant, has it ever occurred to you that maybe Sandara is interested in what you think?
Why would she be interested in anything that I think?
That's my question.
She's just supposed to do what she's told.
Because you got a good head on your shoulders.
Oh boy, sorry.
She's a member of the crew. She's just supposed to do what she's told. I'm not her friend. I'm not her nanny. She doesn't need anything from me except for instruction, and I told her to stay on the ship and make sure it doesn't sink. She should be able to do that easy. I don't know why she's always trying to go on and talk with me about.
I feel like now isn't the proper time to ask Ignis if she has friends.
Do you have friends?
Do you have friends?
Ataraxia, like, reading the room, like,
Ataraxia's
Okay.
captain
I've
slash
been in this,
therapist.
maybe.
Yes, we will slowly open up the lieutenant to the idea of friendship, and hopefully, eventually,
Probably open her up to communication first, and then maybe. Wonderful. All right, cool. Any special items that the four of you are looking for before you begin this journey?
Like, if treasure-wise?
I'd love a ring of protection.
I'm just talking about, like, there's not going to be any real magic items on this aisle. This is a very, as you go around, kind of like go shop around, you're like, oh, they kind of have like their own stuff, but this isn't, by its very nature, to squib ships, you can't be a real big market town or trading post, unfortunately.
in the town. Okay.
So
he
there's not.
doesn't happen to have like any pipes of haunting or maybe a Klee lyre or something like that.
What about potions of healing?
There's not a gift shop on their way out, and
I mean, there's definitely a few potions of healing you could grab. They are marked up in price as a result, though. So they are going to be a little bit more expensive. You have 200 plus, you have technically another load of treasure loot, which can be 1,000, yeah.
would I be able to just, because we've got a week's trip, could I buy some, just some like silver wire?
Oh, yeah, sure. There's some easy silver wire that you can obtain. Not much, but you can get enough for a few uses.
So how much are health potions? Just regular ones.
Health potions here, they normally would be 50, but because of the location, they are going to be double for normal health potions. They're going to be 100 apiece.
How many do we want to get if we want to get any?
They're 100 apiece, and we only have 200.
Do we want to?
We have 1,000 loot.
Yeah, you only have 200 liquid. Then you can break out your loot, which is 1,000 as well. So you could liquidate to 1,200 right now.
I say we just spend the 200 to get 2 health potions, and we're gonna get gold, right? Yeah, it's like, well, we'll make it up in the treasure.
Gotta spend money to make money. Gotta spend those doubloons to make doubloons.
I was party inventory last campaign. I don't want to do it again.
I'll be the loot goblin this time.
Sounds good. All right. So 2 basic health potions going to be $200 or 200 gold pieces. So is there anything like, I know that we're obviously getting you hardtack, we're getting you these survival elements of like water, right? Enough water to at least last you like a day, because you'll be finding like running water later on, filling your canteens, reading the land, right? But just an opportunity for you to find if there's anything like creative, or you're like, I was actually looking for this weapon for my, now this is kind of our first big foray as an adventuring party. Want to make sure you guys have an opportunity to be like, I don't like my short sword, can I get blank, or something like that.
Were they were 2 small health potions? Just like normal.
Yes,
Like
2 regular health potions.
I mean, I've got Healing Word and Cure Wounds.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I have a lay on hands a feature.
I have cure wounds as well. So
I was just gonna say, I will bring some form of like notebook so I can do use my, whatever, like, I don't know, basic navigator tools I have, just like cartography, whatnot, just to keep track of where we're at whenever you're treasure hunting. Best not to get lost.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you can use your proficiencies as well if there's any sort of like, we obviously have survival, which can benefit on land, but you could make your own roll with that as a proficiency to use your cartography skills as well, since you are so close to where the ship is as well. Great. Well, with that, I think the 4 of you are heading off on your journey to find this treasure. Now, there is no map, but it's all verbal, right? So it's like verbal, not tradition, verbal legend, right? And so the things that you know and that you were kind of hearing around town, as you were talking to a couple people around town, one person, while you were buying the potions, the person was like, "Hi, you're going up there to get treasure? Well, You know that the ancient ruins are up in the hills, of course. Yes, but I hear that nobody has ever come back alive if they've gone up in those hills. He says, like, very, like, menacingly.
How did you hear that?
Because because that's just what I hear.
Fair, that's
all
fair.
right?
Listen,
That's just what I hear.
Apologies. Thank you for the potions.
As Ataraxia, you're in the tavern and you're kind of like getting some of the hardtack and just some of the supplies. There's a drunk who's like, there'll be mythical creatures up there. They'll capture you, of course. They're gonna lay eggs in your belly and then you'll give birth to like some wicked mutation that'll eat you from the outside in. Sorry, inside out is what I meant to say.
That's pretty wild. You want to know what else is wild?
Huh.
I lean in close and I say, there's a mythical creature right in front of you.
He kind of like stares at you, and then as it sets in, he goes, he does the thing where his eyes open wide, he points to you, like he like his head, he's like starts to lean back and goes, and he does so far that he just falls out of his chair, and the impact sort of like causes him to kind of like, and you just walk away. He's completely passed out at this point, so.
Wow, it's not hard to excite people around here.
And then Max and Ignis, while you're just kind of walking around, getting ready, there's somebody who's just, you hear one of your crew members talking to one of the locals of the island, and the whispers of like, oh, our captain's gonna go get treasure, and someone's like, all that treasure's been looted a long time ago by pirates seeking their fortune already, okay? It's just not even worth it. I've been here for a couple of years, and everybody who does come back is just mere scraps that they're able to bring. You know what I'm saying? So there's just sort of like whispers that you've heard around town about the treasure on the island as you exit Rickety Hake's town here.
Would it be possible to roll insight on, like, the contradictions in all of these reports that we've been getting?
Clever.
Yeah, to be like, kind of like what's true, what's not true, right? Because at this point, it's all rumors, right? At this point, so yeah, why don't you go ahead and roll a I really like insight here. Let's roll insight for you, Ataraxia.
Booyah. That's a 25.
Captain, my captain.
Ooh, oh my gosh.
Bard expertise already coming in clutch.
Well, I'll just kind of tell you of like how they're all lining up here. I'll kind of give you a lot of my notes since you got so high. Obviously, from Rickety Hake and from other people telling you the whispers, the ancient ruins or the civilization absolutely is up in the hills, and it is like at the end of the path that everybody's been telling you. While we're on the subject, the path leading to these ancient hills, there's an old trail that winds up a precarious cliffside, and then people say that it descends into a valley below. And Rickety Hake said, and once you get to a clear pool of water, I hear you're on the right path, and you'll just keep going until you hear the waterfall, and the ruins should be right behind it. With that insight roll, there's so many people have lined up and said similar or the exact same thing that you're like, yeah, that seems to be where the ruins are. It's not like a trick turn halfway through. That seems to be where we need to go. The nobody's ever come back alive very clearly is wrong because Rickety Hake himself has said that people have come back with treasure. The people, all the treasure being looted from long ago, that one is, there's not a ton of truth to that, or rather it's not fully true is what you kind of are like gauging, because as you think about it, you're like, Rickety Hake said not a lot of people have come back, but people that do come back have like only brought like pieces back. So there's probably, if it really was as large of a treasure, it doesn't seem like it would have been all looted up to this point with how frequent people have been bringing treasure back and the amount that they've been bringing back, right? That's kind of like that's really 25 has helped you discern through a lot of those rumors. Is there any other like follow-up questions you, Ned, as the player would like to ask as that? Or do you feel like that's given you a little bit of knowledge to go forward with?
Yeah, good directions, good sense of like, okay, we probably will get something beneficial out of this. Any congruency as far as the rumors of the terrible things that we're going to face when we get there?
The terrible things, it seems like laying eggs in your stomach and you're going to get eaten from. This is a drunk guy saying it, right? I'll have you roll this in conjunction with a history check, if you will, Ataraxia. I'm going to give you some information, but depending on your history check, we'll see if we can start aligning even more information.
Well, that's going to be a 16.
16 is still pretty good. So you know, like, this is not an alien situation, probably, where an egg's going to get implanted in your belly, and then an alien's going to pop out of your chest, right? Very common Fey story, reenactment that happens in the Feywild that you've been told by your mother. But you do know that these islands do have a lot of wildlife that is not undocumented, but untamed. Like, you've got massive mosquitoes that literally carry off adult humans off into their nests. And you have other mythical creatures. You've got sprites. You've got dryads, of course, all coming from the Fae. Then you have some monstrous creatures that might be possible. I mean, heaven forbid, you have an illithid, right? That you could come across. So you know that that's pretty far-fetched and pretty rare that anything like that would happen, but it is not uncommon to encounter some maybe of the lesser-known monstrosities in just any island setting because of the wilderness, because of it being so wild. So that's kind of like where your history lines up with that rumor, and just kind of like a good reminder to you as you venture out as an adventuring party at this point, right?
Yeah. Well, folks, we're going to get something cool. We're going to get attacked by something bad. Sounds like risk reward to me.
Okay. So what's going to be the general marching order as each of you walk down this path?
I will go first.
I will take the rear.
I was thinking maybe putting the ranger in the front might be a good idea.
I also have a plus 5 and am proficient in investigation, so I can help maybe discern the path as we get closer.
So Max in front, Buster second, then Ataraxia and Ignis.
Well, along that idea, maybe I should be farther in the front.
Why?
So everybody is in the front. You're just in a horizontal line, just a straight line.
I'm perceiving.
I have a plus 7 to my investigation and a circumstantial plus 5 to passive perception.
All right, I'll just hang out. Listen, I don't need to be in the front. I'm okay not being in the front.
I don't normally have intelligent characters. I forgot that intelligence has investigation.
It was nice to be Lance.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what is the order for real, though?
I will go first.
I will go behind
All
Jake.
right, Max, makes sense for him to go first. Okay, Ignis, and then we got Ataraxia and then Buster.
No, I can take it the back.
those,
I don't
or-
want to be in front of the captain.
Well, which of us has a better armor class? I have 12.
I have 12 as well, but I can also I also have I have divination. I should stay in the back. I can always I rolled really low for both of my divination rolls this day, so I could just make somebody roll bad.
Cool.
Okay, sounds good. So this is where, as we're going to be moving forward, it is going to be like roughly a 3.5 day journey. You guys can push yourselves if you'd like to try and like cover a lot of distance, or you know it's going to take 7 days anyway for your ship to be done. We can just take this at a normal pace. But for each day, I'm going to have each of you roll a possible random encounter. This is something we definitely adopted. I really liked adopting in season 1. And this is where, and I'll just explain it to all the new listeners here or people who might have forgotten. So what I'm going to have happen is I'm going to have each of our players here roll a d6. And then, depending on like the possibility of a random encounter occurring, if anybody rolls like a single number or one of two numbers that I am thinking or determined beforehand, usually the number 1 though, that means a random encounter is going to happen. Now, what that random encounter is based off of like a table that I've got and that I'm pulling from other source books of like possible random encounters, but to give an opportunity for the players to react. Now, there are some good benefits to where if they roll a 6, then it will be the encounter will already be beginning to the player's favor and things like that. So, with that in mind, day 1, everybody, let's have you all roll a d6 for me, please.
2.
Also 2.
1.
1.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
The front and the back.
What was that you were saying about running into illithids?
Oh, good.
We've got 2 2s and 2
We
1s.
maxed out the low end
Wow.
of the D6.
First place, baby.
First place.
I think Joshua brought some of that bad dice juju
from his previous
Listen,
game.
the
into
dice
this-
tell their own story, gang.
from earlier this week.
All right. So as you come across the path, you were told that the first big thing you're going to see is going along a treacherous cliff, and that is true. You come out from the beach, and it's just a climb. You just start climbing almost immediately. It's not a steep climb at first, but it is a climb that does. Your breathing becomes labored as a result, and you start having to really like take some breaks for those that are, well, actually all of you are pretty fit, so you don't have to take as many breaks as maybe the average hiker or average seafarer has to. But you do come across a pretty perilous path leading further into the mountainside.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm looking at this map. Is what we see on this map literally what we see in front of us in the game?
Yes, it is, actually. So you are on the southern portion. Let me describe this for our audio listeners here. You come across this portion of the mountainside. What you see is it's kind of like a winding canyon through this mountain, but then it opens to this little bit of like a canyon off the side, off to the left and the right of the path. And then in front of you, you'll see 4 large skulls carved directly into the rock. And then further in between, there's 2 skulls on the left side, 2 skulls on the right, and there's a path that goes directly through the 4, the 2 on each that you have to go to. But before you can get to those skulls, as I mentioned, there's that ravine that you have to cross over that's not very wide. It's about 10 feet wide from side to side.
That looks ominous. I'm going to... I'm suddenly wondering if there's a chance that I could have like bought a spyglass from our old friend Rickety before we headed on up here.
Oh, that's a good thing for a pirate to have.
Yeah, and you are captain, right? Let's leave that to fate.
Ooh.
Let's go ahead and say, yeah. Go ahead and roll a fate die, and if it's a plus, then we'll say that you would have been able to purchase.
Okay, come on, baby. It's a minus.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Darn it.
Not on your list of priorities before you
Can
headed
I
out on this.
perceive anything up ahead?
Well, that's a good point. Why don't you go ahead and roll a perception check here as you come to this ominous... It is very clear this is pretty ominous, so that it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for you to take a breather while assessing your surroundings here.
16.
I would like to like sort of get up onto Max's shoulders and put both of my hands in front of his face as if it's like a telescope.
Does that give me advantage?
Ataraxia.
Could I shape water to make it look like a lens and
Oh my gosh.
Well, I was thinking maybe bardic inspiration, but
Either or.
There we go. I was just going to say, like, I love all of this. It wouldn't give you any mechanical benefit, but if it's bardic inspiration, then yes, of course.
So do I roll or do you roll, Ned?
So this is something you just can use if you need to, right?
yeah, so it's a D6 is what my bardic inspiration is right now.
I'll use it, sure. I roll a 6 on that bardic inspiration, so that is now 24. Nope, 22.
Yes.
Still good.
Wow. Okay. What you can see is you're not fully exposed because you're still kind of in the canyon area over here. But with your 22, not only do you perceive some of this, but before you actually start like knowing what to look, you start smelling something on the air. You're like, and you hold your hands up and just kind of like hold people to wait while you like really take it in. And Max, I kind of like, what are some like the big, like, as you are a ranger and you've already like, we're already up to 4th level at this point, right? Like, what are some of the characteristics you've taken on as a ranger to like really like start assessing a situation? Because this is a very successful perception that you are about to accomplish. So what does that look like for Max performing?
Can you clarify what you're asking for? I'm just confused by.
Some people like lick the dirt. Some people like finger in the wind, like the direction they're going
like
here.
A snake, do you stick your tongue out to kind of taste the...
I'm not a snake. I'm not a lizard. I'm a dragonborn.
Dragon, not lizard. He don't do that tongue thing.
So, just giving you an opportunity to add some flavor to Max and like how he does his rangerness.
How does Max do his rangerness?
What Max kind of does is to be able to get a sense of the surroundings, he kind of leans down, he gets like a handful of dirt and almost starts rubbing it in his hands as lizards do, but he's not a lizard, he's a dragon, but as lizard-like creatures do, his eyes just start darting around rapidly, just taking in every little detail that it can. It's very almost like kind of probably off-putting just to anybody else, because usually eye contact is something someone does just to maintain it in one spot, but it's like boom, 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 boom. He's just hitting every indicator, especially in terms of places where things could pop out or places that creatures might rest or harbor in.
So as you start to perceive the surroundings or your surroundings more intently, you get that nasty like smell of like just like horrible stink that is blown towards your direction, that is from where you need to go. The skulls and the path, it's coming from that direction. It's not necessarily rotting, but it's a pretty close smell to that. Like, it's just like massive like BO, dirt, and just almost like rotting is kind of the smell. And then upon the wind, you hear just grunts and like you just hear. What languages do you know again, Max?
I know Common, Draconic, Aquan, and Infernal.
Okay, so you don't understand these grunts necessarily, and you're not able to perceive and pick it up, but they're deep, they're thunderous and low, and like primal, if that makes sense, right?
Primordial language?
It's not a primordial language, but it's just like primal, like grunting and very base language, if you will.
It's just Max hearing this, right?
It's just Max hearing this as of right now.
Would I be able to, and I know this is a weird question, but can I tell a type of creature this grunting could come from? You know, in terms of like how tigers chuff, lions roar, things that, like, oh, I can tell this is more goblin, this is more, almost just monster, this is more, can I tell,
give it to,
put it in a range?
I wouldn't give it to, honestly, anyone else in the party, but because you are specifically a monster slayer, right? I will say that you're able to start like pinpointing and being like, this feels very like in the orc family-ish, like in that sort of like those like monstrosities, even though they're not technically monstrosities, but like that sort of like classification, that's what it feels like, this language, this grunting, and you can hear it coming from the distance. You're not sure if it's like on top of the cliffside with the skulls or if it's like further down the path. That's kind of what you're picking up.
I do have comprehend language as a spell if we need it. I don't feel like this is necessary for this moment, but...
Well, it's just grunting. It's not... Because even though I don't know languages, I would assume I could be able to tell, oh, they're speaking words in a different language other than like, Unless that is
like an ogre speech would probably be like really, really dumb like that. Like, me go get rock.
True. True.
So that's what you've been picking up.
And I can't tell distance-wise, like, oh, this is, like you said, this is in the cliffs versus the ravine, or...
It's just like, you don't know if it's on top or if it's just further in the ravine, but you may be able to spend some time and observe to see if you can gather some additional information here if you'd like.
If we wait 10 minutes, I could cast Comprehend Language as a ritual. I've got big ears. I could listen.
It's an option. Yeah. Max will just turn to the group and obviously relay.
I'm hearing some orcish noises up ahead. I'm not necessarily pinpointing it on orcs, just a type of variety. Looks like they're either living in this space or using it to hunt.
So what do we do?
Well, if we wait 10 minutes, you can cast Comprehend Languages.
I'm talking to Ataraxia. What do you want to do, Cap?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can cast Comprehend Language if we want to hang out for 10 minutes. I just don't know if that's the goal, if that's the mode.
Good idea, Buster.
Well, if I've learned anything from playing Breath of the Wild, they're probably in the eye sockets of those skulls.
The nerd in the corner does love a good video game.
That he does. Now, I don't think there's any way that we'll be able to get around these guys because there's literally only one way across this gorge. What if we, pretend that we don't know they're there? Oh, look at us, a bunch of vulnerable hikers out here in the middle of the wilderness. And then when they try to get the jump on us, we get the jump on them.
Buster, you have that spell that
Fog cloud.
It lights up people and it makes you have, what would you call it? Maybe like a disadvantage in a battle, or maybe an advantage in other ways.
I don't have that.
Fairy fire? I've got that.
It's fairy fire. Yeah, somebody used it in our last battle with the Sahuagins. Is there any way that we could... What's the range on that? Could we hit them with some fairy fire and try and figure out where they are?
Yeah, so fairy fire is a 20-foot cube up to 60 feet away. Seems like they're maybe a little too far to hit from here, and I'd only be able to get one skull.
So, Cap, you just want to go in?
I mean,
lure them
action,
out? Let's spring the trap?
We gotta act at some point.
Well, I could cast Fog Cloud to give us some obscurity.
But then we couldn't see.
What if we keep the range? What if we keep with our ranged members of our party back here? I can go forward and draw them out like a stalking horse.
I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Can you move the fog cloud?
Basic wind moves it, so it's just a cloud of fog. I can cast it at a 20-foot radius or a 40-foot radius if I use a second level. But I pick a point within 120 feet. So if we know where the wind's blowing, I could cover quite a bit of ground, I suppose. It doesn't move very fast.
Also, mechanically, Max can't be surprised. So if Max just starts walking out there, unless there's a trap, which is a different thing.
Wait a minute, you can't be surprised unless it's a trap.
Well, in terms of, it says you can't be surprised, so I assume traps can still trigger, but I can't, nothing gets a surprise round on Max. So if Max walks out there and they're waiting to attack...
even if somebody's invisible, they can't, they're not going to get the jump on you.
It says you can't be surprised while you're conscious.
Yeah, I like that feat. That's really cool. That's super aware or whatever, or is the... It's like Spidey senses, basically.
Just that Max has a ranged weapon. I bet you're a crossbow expert, so you can use it in melee range, can't you?
Yeah, I can use it both.
Yeah, so...
I'm cool with all of this.
While you're discussing this, Max...
You're surprised.
I got him!
You haven't moved your focus from this opening. And... not from the skulls themselves, but from the ravine, you actually see two lumbering figures come out and towards
of the ravine
with enough time to up to the ravine. The
canyon,
the path up before you. Yeah, the canyon before you, and with enough time for you to tell everybody get down, hide behind this corner here, and you're able to look. And as you look way across the way, you see two large lumbering ogres come out of the canyon and they start to kind of like look around, and they look at the openings of the skulls. And as one of them looks at the opening of the skull, pulls something from there, and it's just the leg of an animal. And they just bite into it.
It probably would look a little bit like two of our legs. So Ataraxia and I are not too far off from animal legs.
And they just grunt to each other, and they just seem to be talking to one another. And as you relay this information to the rest of your party, it starts to sink in that these two ogres are blocking your path towards treasure. And what you're going to do about it? I'll have to find out next time on I Cast Fireball.
Oh boy.
I like that you say, what are you going to do about it, as if
What are you going to do about it?
we're not just going to run in and attack.
I apologize for the metagaming. I realized I was doing that a bit. I was just like, I just want you to I don't know how well versed all of us are in each other's abilities. I just thought I'd be like, here's tools in the shed as you're brainstorming.
I getcha.
Oh, no. I don't think that was... No.
This is some good stuff. We've got new classes. We've got new players joining us full time, of course, and then we've got a new setting entirely, of course. So there's going to be some discussion that we have to talk about and we have to move forward with. So I think it's all great stuff. I think it's all great stuff moving forward. I'm excited to see how each of you are going to use your unique abilities and try to bully me in this encounter, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, before I jump, Humming Nerd called me out, and so I'm going to do this outro in my best pirate accent as I can. So, Humming Nerd, this is for you. All right, well, of course, I want to thank our players here, Ned, Jacob, Josh, and Mickey. Thank you so much for joining us on this adventure that we have here. So, as always, listeners, thank you for listening as well. This is a lot more difficult than I thought it would be using a pirate accent for the outro, but thanks for sticking along with us here in Season 2 to see what's going to be happening with the next portion of this adventure. But if you want to reach out to us, we've of course got our social medias at @ICastFireball20. You can shoot us an email at icastfireball2020@gmail.com, where you can tell us how horrible this pirate accent is, or give us some other suggestions that you'd like to see in the future episodes. Now, of course, we have our sister podcast, Improv Tabletop, where they have some other shenanigans that they've gone across. They, believe it or not, have had a sailing pirate adventure of themselves that they've experienced themselves using the Fate Accelerated system. Ned, what one is that called?
That would be called Desert Island.
Ah, yes, Desert Island. Go check it out. And, of course, don't forget their ongoing campaign that they've got of Avatar The Last Airbender coming out. Not Avatar The Last Airbender, Avatar Legends coming out in July. So go take a look at that as well. Lastly, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and fellow wacky adventurers. But until next time, I'm Thomas, and around the table I've been joined by...
Lieutenant Ignis Halcon.
Maximus Shans.
Ataraxia Kalian.
And Buster Bilgewater.
Let's keep that fire going, everyone, and we'll see you all next time.